peace to the gods and the earths. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. This is the place where we set oppression ablaze as we are in this waxing gibbous moon phase as the full moon prepares to, I can only imagine, run whole ass amok across the planet because the energy that is populating right now around all the meridians and ley lines of planet Earth. I don't even know what a full moon's going to do. I don't even know what a full moon's going to do right now. I don't even know if I want to know. But anyway, here we are. Tuesday edition of Burn It Down with Kim Brown. I appreciate you guys making the time to come hang out with me. We're going to keep it funky on this good Tuesday. Come on in here, everybody. We got a good show to get into. I really don't have too much, to be perfectly honest. Just a couple of the sky is falling notices that we should we should attend to. Benjamin Netanyahu is in DC, I guess, unless he may have been run out of town by now, but he was here kissing up to Trump. Getting some bad news, BB got that American media is not really going to talk too much about. So there's that. But I want us to get into the nomination of Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize by a man who is a wanted war criminal. and if that's not the latest sign of the upside down, I don't know. I don't even know what to tell you. But I did want to bring a couple of news hits from the resistance, because in spite of the dystopic way that the genocide is going, Israel, as to quote one of the brown bruvs, and I finally got his name, to quote one of the brown bruvs that I follow on TikTok. Brown bruv said Israel's winning the genocide but losing the war for hearts and minds, because the tide is turning on Israeli sentiments and the way that people feel about the Zionist state and its treatment, oppression of the Palestinian people. But I want us to start off in the great city of Philadelphia. Are you guys in here? Great. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. It's Burn It Down with Kim Brown. I'm here every Tuesday and Friday, most times, 7 p.m. Eastern. Going to city of Philadelphia, as you guys hopefully know, one of the largest actions committed by municipal employees, city employees, has been going on for now 7 days. Back on July 1st, the members of AFSCME District Council 33, representing 9,000 city workers in Philadelphia, ranging from people that work at the water treatment plants, people that treat the sewage, from 911 dispatchers to school crossing guards to sanitation workers, which has been driving the story simply because of the urgency and absolute essential need that sanitation workers play in our society, into keeping society not only functioning, but keeping it clean, relatively healthy. So now here we are, I believe, on day 7 of this big strike. And as you guys know, I have a deep affection for the city of Philadelphia. It is where I attended college. I felt as though I really became a woman. Like Philadelphia made me a woman out here, and I will always have love for the city, especially Black Philadelphia. It's one of the greatest places ever. And you're like, Kim, what part is the Black part? Where ain't the Black part? North? Where else we go? Where Negroes out west? Negroes and the South. You know what I'm saying? It's. And then there's a melange of people in Philadelphia. I love Philadelphia. But Philly is a working class town, blue collar town. It's a labor town. It's a union town. And I want us to take a look at some of the sights and sounds over this first 7 days of the District Council 33 strike, because I love to hear people talk. I do. And like I said, I'm a fan of Philadelphians. So these vids are going to range from day 1 until day 7-ish. Okay, so you're going to hear people talk about Wednesday and this the first day, and now I'm out here on Sunday, just to kind of give a tiny swath of what folks have been seeing, feeling, doing. This is going to be a cross section of the residents, cross section of the union members themselves. Um, and I think we're going to hear from Mayor Parker. Mayor Parker's in there too. So we're going to run these clips. LL Cool J is in this montage as well. So let's go to Philadelphia, where again, and I want all the working folks to please observe, please take notes here. We're going to hear from one person who's going to kind of lay out what the initial union demands were. But gang, we might need to be paying some serious attention here, because general strike time could be yesterday. Let me check my general strike time could have been last week, couple years ago. Like, it's past time, because if it's not a general strike, it's the alternative. And the alternative is not going to be cute. General strike ought to be bloodless. But anywho, let's start off with some of these clips. And I think this was day one, where the bruvs is out there talking about nobody better not cross this here picket line. Let's take a look.
We on strike. You crossing the line. At local 27. I'm not worried about none of that. I'm not worried about none of that. I'm not worried about none of that. It's a strike zone. It's a strike zone. Come on, man. We on strike. It's a strike line. Come on with that, man. You know the rules, bro. I got you. You know the rules, man. Right, come on, man. We on strike, my man. We on strike, man. We not moving nothing. We not moving nothing. We on strike. And that's what it is. That's what it is, man. Respectfully, my man. Respectfully, we on strike. Respectfully.
Tell it to the police.
I will. Respectfully, we on strike. We not moving. Tell that to the mayor. This is the mayor's fault, not ours. This is the mayor's fault. We not doing that, man. We not doing that. We on strike, man. And that's what we gonna do till we get a fair contract, man. Come on, man. Respectfully, bro. Respect us, man.
City Trash Day was today, Wednesday. Center City Trash Day was today, Wednesday, July 2nd. So they put their trash out last night. Baby, guess what? Sherelle Parker had their trash picked up this morning. Sherelle fucking Parker got it operating like a regularly scheduled program around that bitch in Center City. They put out their trash last night. That shit got picked up today. In Center City, all around Center City, their trash got picked up like a regularly scheduled program. My homegirl live downtown, bitch. She put out her trash last night. Guess what? It was picked up this morning. See, that bitch Sherelle, she might be slow, but she ain't fucking dumb. She said, oh, no, we can't have no trash around downtown. You know why? Because the Ritz is down there. The Lowe's is down there. The Marriott is down there. The W is down there. She said, oh, no, we can't have no trash around here. She got it operating like a regularly scheduled trash day around that bitch. They trash day was today, this morning. So she said, fuck North Philly, fuck West Philly, fuck South Philly, fuck any place besides Center City. Like, make sure y'all get that trash out of Center City. So yeah, she didn't want y'all to know that, but I'm gonna tell y'all, go on downtown, bitch. It's clean as a whistle. Shh. You can't find no trash down there, ho. She got it operating like a regularly scheduled program down there, bitch. She said, fuck us. So I suggest this. Y'all take that trash down there and spread it all around. Spread the trash all around downtown, bitch. How we gonna get there, bitch? I don't know. I ain't figured that part out. But ain't no way she got it operating like a regularly scheduled program for the residents that live downtown, and she got us in the outskirts of the Center City just smelling shit bags. You go outside my house right now. It's shit everywhere.
If you live in Philadelphia, you might have realized this morning that your street oddly smells like garbage. And the reason for that is because our mayor's an asshole. I'm coming back inside. I don't want my neighbors to know I'm a TikToker. Philadelphia's largest blue-collar workers union, AFSCME DC 33, is now going on strike for the first time in nearly 40 years. And their reasoning is simple. They gave very, very clear-cut demands to the mayor's office, and the mayor told them to go fuck themselves. And I'm going to go through all of their demands because I want you to see what the mayor said no to, as it's really fucking absurd. Starting off, AFSCME wanted better healthcare for their workers. We're talking paying the full cost of medical, prescription, dental, and optical benefits, increasing the contribution rate, making retiree healthcare contributions for 6 years, and making sure that surviving family members of employees who die on the line of duty receive lifetime health benefits. Yearly 8% wage increases over the duration of the contract that essentially just matches inflation and keeps people afloat. Pandemic pay for employees who were forced to continue working their jobs during the pandemic. Cost of living increases as well as hiring and retention bonuses. Designation of essential workers within the cohorts of workers that are at the negotiating table with extra compensation being paid to these people. Addressing pay inequalities amongst workers as well as hazard pay. Forcing the city to guarantee that it will not contract out work performed by any of the members of the bargaining unit, essentially making sure the city can't just hire third-party contractors to fuck over union workers. Job retention provisions, as well as a promise from the city that all vacant positions within the bargaining unit will be filled as soon as possible, given there's high levels of vacancy within a lot of these jobs in the city. A lot of stuff regarding sick leave that honestly makes a lot of sense, like making sure scheduled doctor's visits are not regarded as a violation of the sick leave policy, and making sure that employees can't just randomly be placed onto like sick leave abuse lists without notification. Elimination of residency requirements that force city workers to live in Philadelphia itself, as well as like pension provisions. Making sure that Muslim holidays as well as Election Day are considered paid holidays by the city, and that school crossing guards are getting adequate holiday pay. Modifying and improving funeral leave. Improvements to life insurance payouts, as well as the city providing retirees a $12,000 life insurance benefit. On top of that, legal services and longevity increments for longevity pay. An overtime cap, an annual administrative leave day conversion, making sure that employees have the right to convert any unused annual leave days each year to vacation days for use in subsequent years. And really notably, credential pay, right? Ensuring that employees can be reimbursed for like CDL license, or that they're reimbursed for the cost of obtaining security identification display area badges. Here's a big one too, uniform and clothing allowances as well as tool allowances, so that employees aren't paying for their own uniforms and paying for their own tools. Flex time and disciplinary adjustments. A lot of your standard grievance stuff to ensure that union employees are protected. City contributions for training and educational programs. Stress pay for designated employees that would amount to about $5 extra per hour. Partial reimbursement of some qualifying employees' annual water bills. Making sure that union members can like wear their union pins and stuff at work. And finally, airport meal vouchers for airport employees and school crossing guard comp days. Now, you would probably think upon reading that none of that really sounds all that crazy. In fact, a lot of that sounds like stuff that you should just expect the city to already be doing. But Mayor Sherrell Parker and the city council refused to budge on these very critical demands, meaning that now the union is going on strike, and it's going to affect us in a lot of ways. Because this strike is also going to affect rec center programs, 911 dispatch times, airport operations workers, some water department staff, and other city employees across the Department of Public Health, Department of Revenue Services, and License and Inspection Enforcement. Also, a fun thing is that crossing guards working near 63 schools with summer programs are part of the union and are expected to also walk off the job. All of that really sucks for a lot of people across Philadelphia, and it's critical to recognize that that is the fault of the mayor's office, who refuses to give in to what are very, very basic and understandable union demands. So if you're living in Philadelphia and all of that pisses you off or inconveniences you, make sure to email or call City Hall, because they're the people who are actively fucking you over right now. Anyway, though, I gotta go to work, but remember, the union makes us strong. Assalamu alaikum, and have a great day.
Council 33, I'm talking to the workers. I'm talking to you. I know you because I've represented you all of my life. I know you because you're in my family. I know you because I'm here, because people like you gave me access to the opportunity to do what no one expected someone like me to accomplish. And that is to become mayor of this city. And I don't apologize to anyone for doing the best I can with what I have. And one final thing I want to share. I won't make any politically expedient decisions. You can threaten me with not supporting me if I decide to run for re-election. You can call me a one-term mayor, but I'll tell you what I will not do. I will not put the fiscal stability of the city of Philadelphia in jeopardy for no one. If that means I'm a one-term mayor, then so be it. But the history books will say that Mayor Sherrell Parker did right by the blue-collar men and women of District Council 33 and put an offer on the table that no other municipal blue-collar workers in the nation could be able to say that their city was providing mortgages for them to be able to become homeowners. That's how you put people on a path to self-sufficiency.
Fair pay. We want fair pay. When do we want it? Yesterday. When do we want fair pay? When do we want it? Yesterday. When do we want fair pay? When do we want it? Yesterday. What do we want? Fair pay. What do we want? Yesterday. DC. 33. DC. 33. 33. DC. 33. Ooh. 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 Yeah.
Yo, so I understand there's a lot going on in Philadelphia right now, and I never, ever want to disappoint my fans, and especially in Philadelphia, y'all mean too much to me. But there's absolutely no way that I could perform, cross a picket line, and pick up money when I know that people are out there fighting for a living wage. I'm not doing that. Saying I've been coming to Philly my whole life. I have respect for the city, you know what I'm saying, of course. And I hope that, the mayor and the city can make a deal. I hope it works out. I'm still gonna come to Philly in case it works out. I'm gonna be in town, y'all. But I'm just letting you know, I'm not gonna cross a picket line and perform for money when people are hurting. That's it. So I love y'all. I'm on my way to Philly, and peace and love.
DC 33 Philly Strike Day 6.
So, if y'all know me, y'all already know what's up. Y'all already know I'm a DC 33 worker, big sanitation, sexiest trash man in the city. Y'all already know how I'm carrying it. But listen, check it. I'm out here on a picket line early Sunday morning. And y'all can't see, they all the way down the street. I had to walk up the block to show y'all. But this is not one of the mayor dump off sites. This is not one of the sites. Y'all see this trash on this bridge to where I go to work? Y'all see it? Come on. We Izzy. That's just one side of the street. Y'all seen it all the way up there. Them is 3-4 foot piles of trash. I'm 6'10". That's why they look short. But these piles of trash, what the fuck y'all dropped off 80 tires? Look at this shit. I'm out here, we out here guarding the trucks. Yeah, ain't nobody taking no truck from my skinny ass. But anyway, look at this. This is not one of the mayor drop-off sites, y'all. This is people who was like, either fuck y'all the trash people, we bringing the trash to where y'all at, or these is the motherfuckers who y'all giving $10 and $20 to pick up your trash. They dumping it anywhere, but it don't matter. I don't give a fuck where this trash laying at. Once you pay us, I promise y'all, I'm gonna come pick it all up. And this just look like a whole bunch of overtime to me. But anyway, have a great Sunday, y'all. I love y'all. This is strike day 6.
Oh, I feel like there should be more. You guys, this is welcome to my life. This is I'm on the scroll, as it were, but that is sort of a little bit of a snippet of what the city of Philadelphia has been experiencing now since July 1st. And the latest, from what I understood, is that the parties did not meet today. They walked away from the table. I can't remember what was reported, who walked away first. I don't know if it was the union. I don't know if it was the city. But the sentiment that I'm getting from Philadelphians is that the Philly folks naturally, as expected, are on the correct side of this. All of the videos that I've seen posted, many of the news reports that I've been following, when residents are spoken to and asked what they think that the mayor should pay these people, okay? And they say that shit very plainly, very clearly. I have not seen really any, but let's say little to none sentiments that are going against these striking workers, okay? Why? Because you heard a little bit of what the union is demanding, and the kind of benefits that they are demanding are not exorbitant. no one working for the city is going to get rich, even if all of their demands are met, right? This is the basic bare minimum that all workers need to be afforded with, right? Full and complete healthcare coverage, 100% paid prescriptions, ample paid time off, not getting docked for going to doctor's visits, having full compensation for your family if you die on the line of duty. Sanitation worker is among the most dangerous professions out there. If the police get all kinds of crazy incentives and benefits and overtime and training and all this bullshit, why not the trash man? Motherfucker, we can do without the cops. You see, Philly is struggling without the trash folks, okay? Without the sanitation workers, right? The entire quality of life is affected in a negative way across the board when the sanitation workers are not there. You know what I'm saying? I think neighborhoods would survive happily without police. Some may disagree, especially in the wake of some negative crime things. But again, cops don't stop crime. There was mass shootings over in Philadelphia over the July 4th weekend. Cops didn't stop none of that fucking shit. So what good are the police doing? I see the good that the sanitation workers are doing, and you see what happens when you subtract your labor from the situation, right? You subtract your labors from the situation, your employer, your manager, the boss sees exactly how much value you bring to the table. And to be clear, Mayor Parker knows. She knows that these are the workers that keep the city moving. The airport workers, the 911 dispatchers, of course, the people that are helping the kids make it to the rec programs and make it to and fro school, right? And of course, the trash workers. It's incredible that this lady is being a perfect example of the black misleadership class, right? She's acting like a manager. This is why working class black folks should not ever. You cannot trust niggas in these positions. You cannot trust the black mayor. You cannot trust the black state attorney, the black prosecutor, because they are going to uphold the values and the desires of what capital want, right? And it's crazy for Mayor Sherelle Parker to stand up there and say that I'm not going to risk the fiscal health of this city for nobody. Hold on. I'm sure there are many a corporation, developer, sports team, franchise that are paying a fraction, if not none, of the proper taxes of which they should be contributing to the city. Like, trash pickup is a non-negotiable. Whatever the trash folks want, you should give it to them. Give it to them too sweet, post haste. There are ways, if the city is indeed not in a position, as they say, to give these folks and meet their demands all the way, there are ways that these demands can be met. And it comes in the form of taxing the rich, of taxing the corporations, right? Well, that's going to scare off business. Well, tough fucking shit. You got to have the city needs to be able to function. And to be clear, there are third party contractors coming in and doing some trash removal. One of the brothers in the video talked about how Center City, the downtown pulse of Philadelphia, has its trash getting picked up with regularity, right? I wonder what that looked like. What did that look like on July 4th along the Parkway? Or Ben Franklin Parkway, where they do the fireworks. Hold on, let me slow down on one thoughts because I'm all over the place. Hold on. So Mayor Parker says there ain't no money to pay them, and the parties have stopped negotiating. So I have no idea what Philly is looking like on today, like literally as of right now. If we have Philly people in the chat, is infinite content in the chat? The reason I ask is because, from what I understand, Philly is getting some inclement weather right now. They're getting a lot of thunderstorms. I wonder what those sewer drains are going to look like with an existing 8-foot mountain of trash dotting every corner in Philly, right? But certain neighborhoods, again, getting their trash picked up. Center City neighborhood being one of them. East Mount. Where's Mayor Parker live? Is it she live in Mount Airy or East Oak Lane? They say the trash getting picked up out there, but the police are posted up on her block, so don't bring the trash to her block because the cops is out there protecting the mayor's residence. But the Black Misleadership class is definitely showing its ass right now. And anytime that we celebrate the first Black blah, blah, blah in a position of either visibility or prestige or whatever, I used to be a goofy Democrat in my youth. And I used to, kind of get excited about such things. But until I realized that usually the first nigga, especially in politics, is usually a terrible nigga. Okay. Nigga is usually terrible and usually not selected to be there because they do things in the best interest of the community, right? Like we think that we are voting in a true democracy where no, usually a lot of the people that we are seeing being ran for races have been predetermined, pre-selected, have already pledged their allegiance to different interests and vowed to govern in a particular way should they get elected, and to keep certain promises that were made to those that helped pull the levers of power to get them in that position. And that's how Sherelle Parker is exactly acting right now. You know what I'm saying? To imagine that the Black woman mayor with her Black negotiating team, the guy who's doing the head negotiating for District Council 33, also a Black man, the majority of these 9,000 union members, Black people. And to think that you got to beg and scrape to the first Black woman mayor and plead your case about why the city she claimed that they offered a pay raise of 13%. Which I don't believe that, Mayor Parker. That sounds like some bullshit. The union also disputes this, but one of the city's previous offers was a cost of living, I think, a cost of living increase or a pay raise of something in the neighborhood of 2.75%. However, inflation is right around 3%. So they are making or offering their employees, the city workers, only enough money that's not even covering what the rate of inflation is versus food versus gas versus transportation versus housing. So it's like y'all still want the city workers to be paid in a deficit. Why do you want that? Because that is a corporate cracker mentality, right? And there are too many Black people out here willing to do the master's bidding to save a few pennies, or in Sherelle Parker's case, to make sure that certain interests, certain businesses, certain industries in the city of Philadelphia don't have to pay their fair share, right? Or she do what she did, from what I understand, that the property tax, the real estate transfer tax, if you own a property in Philadelphia, a home in Philadelphia, and you sell this home, the city of Philadelphia has now added, is it 1%? Has added a percentage of the home sale price to the final price of the sale. And it's like, madam, it's like these policies are hurting the working class, right? And exacerbating conditions for Black folks, because Black people in Philadelphia are already feeling tremendous amounts of pressure from gentrification and rising housing costs. And a city job was supposed to be a reliable job, right? That was supposed to be a job that you could get a retirement from, pension, good health benefits, and just reliable employment, right? That would at least meet the cost of living, and especially, hopefully, make it so that you could afford to live in the city in which you work for, right? But as the Trump / Doge austerity takes its grip over the federal government, we're seeing a lot of these Democrats follow suit, right? This is what Sherelle Parker is doing in Philadelphia. Wes Moore, y'all favorite cantaloupe head ass governor, Wes Moore, doing austerity in the state of Maryland. It's funny. It's so funny how when the Republicans do their terrible fiscal policies, that gives Democrats the opportunities to do the same thing and then shrug their shoulders and be like, "See, well, we didn't have any choice because tax the right people and the money will be there." The other thing I wanted to mention, there's a couple things that I wanted to mention. The I have a little issue, but I will say this. So I'm not a fan of the black misleadership. At the same time, I do feel a tiny bit of a way. Now, granted, Sherelle might legitimately, it seems that she is likely terrible, so maybe I shouldn't care. But I always feel a kind of way when I hear ad hominem attacks on black women's looks, right? If you want to bash the policies, if you want to bash the leadership, if you want to bash the blatant allegiance to the capitalist class of a city, or wherever this black woman happens to hold power, I just don't dig the bashing of the looks, though. That kind of bugs me. And they do that to Muriel Bowser, and I'm like, well, yes, Muriel is terrible. She is terrible. But do we have to? Do we have to do that part though? I don't dig that part, right? I just wanted to mention that. That is parts that I don't dig. Even if they are terrible, because I'm trying to think. Because I've bashed many a terrible black woman on this platform. Marilyn Mosby comes to mind, and I'm trying to think. Did I used to joke Marilyn Mosby's looks? Did I used to joke her looks? I don't think so. I don't think I'm not that level mean girl. I'm a little mean, but not looks mean, because I think that's a little mean. But maybe maybe it's me. Maybe I am the goofy. Other parts about this strike that I wanted to mention, guys. First of all, they do have a strike fund. Please go search the socials, District Council 33 Strike Fund. It is important that we do what we can to support these striking workers. Again, this is a week that they have also gone without paychecks. 4th of July, y'all know what that is. Double time. They missed out on double time. But the folks stood strong. Oh, I did want to say this. So there are third-party contractors being brought in to remove trash from certain places. You can absolutely give double middle finger salutes when you see the people. And I'm not talking about the folks around the way trying to make a few dollars. Yeah, give me $10, $20. I'll take your trash to the dump wherever. I'll take it to the mayor, one of the mayor's designated trash drop-off sites. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the folks that reportedly are coming in from other union locals. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but reportedly coming in from towns and counties, maybe even as far as Delaware, maybe Maryland, coming in to Philadelphia, being paid a wage double, triple that of what the actual city sanitation workers are being paid, right? So the city is paying contractors a much higher rate to come take some trash away from certain areas, I suppose. But also, one of the major downsides of Mayor Parker not coming to a quick resolution with the striking union workers, the public health threats to the community. We have been dealing with very high temperatures, 80s, 90s in the Northeast. I'm sure with the heat index hovering around 100. As I mentioned, there were strong thunderstorms rumbling through the Philadelphia area today. So, all that sort of effect. From what I understand, the smell is the smell. Ooh, I do not envy that smell up there in Philly, y'all. But I wanted to say, the illegal dumping that's happening, the brother, big sexy sanitation, the brother in the video, he alluded to it. He said somebody done dropped off like 80 tires up here. I've seen news reports of a lot of illegal dumping of renovations and demolitions, right? Sheetrock, drywall, shattered glass, liquids from automotive shops. Like, there's some nasty shit potentially being left in addition to just the regular residential trash. But folks are some folks anyway are taking terrible advantage of the situation. So when a resolution finally does come, there's going to be a whole lot to get the city together. And I appreciate the brother saying that it just looked like a whole lot of overtime for him. But at the same time, keep in mind that we do have environmental justice issues going on. So if you know anybody that might be inclined to dump some nasty shit somewhere, try to discourage them from doing that, because these are the areas in which you live and traverse and work and play and thrive, hopefully. So we don't want to be dropping, and I'm sure it's motherfuckers coming from way outside of their own neighborhoods to go to other places to drop off things that they are not supposed to be just routinely putting out on the curb. But just try to be aware of all of that. If you're in Philadelphia, try to do what you can to deal with the mountains of stinking trash. But I want to salute to Philly and salute to the striking workers. I appreciate the solidarity and the unity that I'm seeing residents rally behind these folks, because they deserve everything that they are asking for and more, right? Retroactive pay for the COVID, for the pandemic pay, absolutely. Pay those people their money. They were out there where when it was dangerous for them to do so. I saw someone sort of balking at that house. The pandemic was 5 years ago. How damn is there no pandemic? Yes, the fuck they do. All that phony performative applause for the essential workers when we were at the height of the pandemic and the height of the lockdowns. No. Save your applause. Save your applause. Run that check, run that money, run that retroactive bonus for the hazard pay of which they are owed and they are overdue for. So yes, I agree with all the things. Run the people what they deserve. Mayor Parker. Shout out in solidarity to District Council 33 and all the striking workers out there trying to do what they can to make sure that we maintain and preserve and expand our worker rights and benefits in this country. Let me take a little teeny tiny, teeny tiny, teeny tiny, teeny tiny break. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you all for being here. I wasn't going to say too much about the floods. I'm going to say just something just pretty quickly, because a lot of tragedies happen over the 4th of July weekend in the United States, right? What happened down in Texas with the floods and the 100 plus people that have now been confirmed dead, a good chunk of those folks, kids, it's a very sad situation. um it is also one of America's making, in a way, right? America's refusal and inability to address climate change, to do any sort of meaningful infrastructure investments to make sure that people are not continuously building on a floodplain, so that capitalism can eke out some extra bucks in the dry years or the years where there is no flood. But hey, we'll go ahead and sacrifice 100 folks every 40 years in order to keep generating revenue off of this dangerous area of land that will likely become more dangerous as climate change continues, right? And there's a couple of takeaways here. There's probably several million takeaways, but here are a couple of mine just really quick. Like, I follow, I think they're called the Sunrise Foundation, and it's a environmental youth activist organization. I see the kids posting videos. They're running up on their congressional members, telling them, don't you care about my future? Like, it's 18, 19 year olds asking these grizzled, cold-hearted white men who hold political power. And they're trying to appeal to these cold-hearted white men's compassion for the future of 18-year-olds, which I totally get and understand. And these kids are met with responses like, oh, climate change is a hoax, the earth isn't changing. Let me tell you something. The capitalist class in this current American political system does not give a single shit about the kids' future. And they make this evident and plain. They don't even care about their own kids' future, okay? Because all of these piece of shit Republicans, especially from Governor Greg Abbott to Ken Paxton to Ted Cruz, it's all a bunch of thoughts and prayers malarkey, okay? Thoughts and prayers do fuck all, okay? Policy actions can actually maybe do something. Referencing the pandemic, when people in the globe was on lockdowns, the number of greenhouse gas emissions found in the atmosphere plummeted, right? I talked to the NASA scientist when I was working for the Real News. I interviewed the Bama because I remember I kept coming across the report. I was like, "Is that true? Can we booked him and he confirmed it? Yes, yes. When you take greenhouse gases, when you subtract fossil fuels out of the equation, the Earth actually starts to improve, right? But capitalism got to capitalize, and it will cannibalize even its own. So all this thoughts and prayers, malarkey coming from the GOP, coming from conservatives. Well, we're so helpless. We don't know what we can do. Oh no, there are lots of things that can be done. You just don't want to do them. You'd rather spend $1 trillion on the Department of Defense. You'd rather quadruple the budget of ICE and ratchet up deportations, right? Mass deportations. These are the priorities of this government. And as a result, all of the climate metrics that we were told that if the Earth's temperature gets above 1.5 degrees Celsius by God, it's probably coming up here real soon. If the Earth maxes out at over that 1.5 degree elevation in temperature, well, then humans are cooked. And I think we are rapidly approaching that. And by the way, the United States is nowhere near meeting any of its targets. And in fact, Trump is firing back up the coal plants. It's part of the big, beautiful bill, right? So, but in addition to the loss of life in Texas, there was mass shootings with loss of life in Chicago. Rapper Mellow Banks, I think it was 18 people shot at her album release party, including her boyfriend, including her homegirl, and another like 4 people got killed. 50 people were shot in Chicago over the weekend. There was a mass shooting in Indianapolis. 2 teenagers got killed. Mass shooting in Philadelphia. A handful of people got killed. It's amazing to me that the commemoration of America's birthday is always met with bloodshed, right? and it's very it 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 matches the energy and the vibration and the foundation of this country that many people die over the course of a given 4th of July weekend, or at least lots of people end up getting hurt. And the tragedy of this flood taking away so many children, taking away so many folks at the same time that Americans in other places also experience tragedy. Let that be a bit of a more of a spiritual reminder, right? Like the wickedness is going to be revisited upon us, right? Even if it's not going to be us per se going directly at our enemies, right? The universe and karma has a way of balancing the scales. And I'm not saying that nobody, that anybody deserved any, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that when certain folks have never been made to feel or really be having to deal with the consequences of the actions and the negativity and the harm that they sign off on, that they put forward as policy, and they think they sit up in the halls of power, and that they themselves are somehow safe from any repercussions, right? The universe will remind you that you too can be touched. Okay, you too can be touched. And even if it's not you, you can also be touched in a way that it will hurt you. And sometimes other people's fate can be the karma, unfortunately, because folks won't learn the lesson if it happens to them directly. Sometimes it has to happen to a more innocent person close to them for them to attempt to get it. But I don't think these folks are going to try to get it. I don't think these folks are going to, even while they have their heads bowed in church every Sunday, can quote you scripture forward and backwards. They are not going to learn the indeed divine and biblical lesson that literally ran through the middle of their state in the wee hours of 4th of July, right? So that's all I wanted to say about that. I hope some of that makes sense. It may not have made any sense for all of us, I know. But these are the times that we live in. Nothing makes sense, guys. If I don't make sense, it's fine. Because you know why? The world doesn't make sense. My next story also makes very little sense. It's Burn It Down with Kim Brown. Y'all come on in here. Please like my video. Please listen to my demo. Please listen to my demo. Subscribe to the channel. We are knocking on 8,000 one of these years. So do what you can to like, follow, share, subscribe, chat, comment. Do what you can do. So, one of the genocidal ghouls, in fact, probably the head ghoul, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu finds himself in Washington, D.C. this week. I suppose to kiss the ring. I don't know. I don't know what kind of weird the ceremonial, ritualistic things that these world leaders do with each other once they see each other and once they request favors and have to give back thanks for evil deeds. I don't know what really goes on behind closed doors. But Bibi was at the White House and he was kissing Trump's ass. And when I tell you this is elite level ass kissing, it is tremendous ass kissing. And I told you guys, or have I told you? So I think that Netanyahu is a demon, and I definitely think Trump is a demon. Now, from what I understand about the hierarchy of demons, there are lower level demons and then there are higher level demons. So some of the times the lower level demons got to obey the orders of the higher level demons. Now, Netanyahu seems like the more strategic and capable mentally demon. He's evil in all of his plottings, right? But he doesn't strike me as a dumb man. Trump, on the other hand, absolutely strikes me as a dumb man. So I'm just wondering, in the hierarchy of the demons, I don't know which demon answers to whom, and whether or not Netanyahu's bow and scraping performance is an indication that he is a lower demon or in fact a smarter one. But anyway, this actually happened. This happened. So I'm not going to say what this is. We're just going to run the clip. Will, go ahead and run that, please. Thank you.
I want to express the appreciation and admiration not only of all Israelis, but of the Jewish people and many, many admirers around the world for your leadership of the free world, your leadership of a just cause, and the pursuit of peace and security, which you are leading in many lands, but now especially in the Middle East. We have great opportunities. The President has an extraordinary team, and I think our teams together make an extraordinary combination to meet challenges and seize opportunities. But the President has already realized great opportunities. He forged the Abraham Accords. He's forging peace as we speak in one country and one region after the other. So I want to present to you, Mr. President, the letter I sent to the Nobel Prize Committee. It's nominating you for the Peace Prize, which is well deserved, and you should get it.
Thank you very much. This I didn't know. Well, thank you very much. Coming from you in particular, this is very meaningful. Thank you very much, baby.
Thank you. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you. It's a great honor.
We surely live in the upside down, right? How in the hell is does a person who has active arrest warrants out from what, one, two international judicial bodies on allegations of war crimes, on crimes against humanity, of intentionally creating a starvation crisis in Gaza, how in the hell does he recommend the peace prize really to anybody? Like, sir, wait a minute, sir, Mr. Netanyahu, how the fuck are you qualified to recommend anyone gets recognized for peace of all things? And then Trump of all niggas, Trump nominate Trump for a peace prize, as Trump has U.S. Marines actively deployed and occupying an American city. The city of Los Angeles is under military occupation at this very moment. Trump is actively himself committing human rights violations, kidnapping, detaining people with legal status, holding them without any criminal charge, without any due process. There have been so many reports about migrant children who are sick and actually literally dying. I can't even, and that's not even hyperbole, where you have these hundreds of children that are being held in close quarters. They are not being fed. They are not being given proper water. They are sharing all one toilet. Children are sick. They are not receiving proper medical care. Women in these detention facilities, these ICE detention facilities, are miscarrying. Their newborns are not thriving. Like, it's nasty fucking work, right? So again, part of our job is to counteract the media narrative and the propaganda spin, as though what Trump is doing to migrants and people here in this country who weren't born here, as though what Trump is doing is normal, as though what Netanyahu and his genocide in Gaza is normal. Like, the shit gets presented like the shit is fucking normal, y'all. You understand? So it's incumbent upon us to scream from the absolute raptors, the absolute absurdity that Benjamin Netanyahu, number one, gets to travel here without any worry of being detained and being handed over to The Hague to face the charges, of which, in my opinion, he has been correctly charged, because the genocide doesn't stop. It doesn't take a day off in Gaza, in spite of the talks of a so-called ceasefire, which is also laughable. In what world does Israel abide by ceasefires? That's not how this works. That's not how they carry it anyway. But I wanted to, while pointing out. Oh, and by the way, the absurdity of the Nobel Peace Prize within itself. For those, I'm sure you guys all know this. Who is the Nobel Prize? Whom was the person the Nobel Prizes were named after? They were named after a 19th century Swedish chemist, Alfred Nobel, who apparently was a smart guy, and among his smart guy inventions came up with dynamite, or a new form of dynamite that was used extensively in mining and also in warfare. And it made him a very rich individual. And this man apparently was quite content to go to his grave being a very rich individual. But all the stories that I saw indicate that Alfred Nobel had the interesting opportunity to read his own obituary in a newspaper when his brother died, but the press at the time mistook his brother for his brother Ludwig. Ludwig kicked the bucket, and the paper didn't know it was Ludwig. They thought it was Alfred. So they wrote the obituary about Alfred, and Alfred, very much alive and well, read his obituary where he was labeled as the Merchant of Death. And Alfred said, "Oh, is that how you feel about me?" So he reallotted his fortune, so when he passed away, uh, it would be available to fund these different awards, these different prizes in different disciplines, including that of physics and mathematics and engineering and peace. Though I also find out that the Nobel Prize for Economics is a made up one. That wasn't one of the original ones. That one was actually bankrolled by the Bank of Sweden in order to, again, normalize and propagate free market ideals. That's why they usually award these economics Nobel Prizes to free market fuckboys to sort of, mainstream and make anyway, fuck it. But the point is, the Nobel Peace Prize is funded by dynamite, by actual dynamite. So we can take the Nobel Peace Prize with a grain of salt. We could also take the Nobel Peace Prize with a bit of a grain of salt because Barack Hussein Obama is a Nobel Peace Prize winner. And I cram to understand to this fucking day why Obama got a peace prize for what? For murdering Gaddafi? For what? Droning weddings in Afghanistan? Like what peaceful actions did Obama do to deserve the peace prize again? So I guess they just giving these peace prizes out to any old fucking body. No disrespect to the god Martin Luther King, but it seemed as though after MLK, maybe the quality of these peace prize recipients sort of hit the skid. So it could be total on brand for Netanyahu of all niggas to nominate Trump of all niggas for a Nobel Peace Prize. But y'all, I wanted to tell you, well, do you have those articles by any chance? Because even if you don't worry about it. Because I just wanted to mention to you guys that the resistance is still very much resisting, because at the same time that Netanyahu was I don't know, putting his back into it when it came to lavishing putting his neck into it. You understand? While lavishing praise upon Donald Trump at the White House, he got some bad news. So who was this from actually? Yes. So and I put the Times of Israel up there kind of deliberately because I know that Times of Israel is a deeply propagandized rag. So for them to say that 5 IDF soldiers were killed and 14 were injured in a roadside bomb attack in northern Gaza, I thought was really interesting because the interwebs, sources that I'm less able to verify, but I still find credible, including Indy.ca. It's www.indi.ca. One of the brown bruvs that I'm following on TikTok, and I love their content. They bring some great information. Now, they indicate, reporting from RNN, that in fact this attack, of which 5 IDF soldiers were reported killed. In fact, the number could be significantly more. From what I understand, this was a coordinated, multi-layer ambush attack on IDF soldiers, in which maybe as many as a couple of dozen of them have been unalived. Again, not verified, that number, but here's the problem. It could be almost impossible to verify that number. In the wake of the shelling that Israel took from Iran, when Israel, you wanted to go start shit. you wanted to go let the Yappa sing over Tehran, nigga. You wanted to go start some shit, and then all of a sudden it's boom boom Tel Aviv, right? All of a sudden Tel Aviv in fucking shambles. Well, in the wake of Tel Aviv being in shambles, the Israeli military and media propaganda censors have been working overtime. Okay, we are likely not going to know, maybe ever, the extent of the damage that Israel suffered at the hands of Iranian missiles. But that also stands true for when the H groups get their man on. I don't know how else to say it. When the H groups get their man on, if you understand, you picking up what I'm putting down, when the H groups get their man on, the accuracy of the information to the extent that the H groups got their man on, we are likely not to know because that information is being tightly guarded, very closely monitored, and there are penalties now by law passed by the Knesset recently for Israeli citizens and for media outlets, domestic and foreign media entities, if they report information that did not get defense ministry approval, oh, somebody's in trouble. So we may not know exactly how many IDF soldiers were sent on to the gangster lean in this attack on Gaza, which happened, this attack inside of Gaza, which happened the same night that Netanyahu slobbed. Presented Trump with the nomination for the Nobel Peace Prize. Now, also, guys, if you might remember, at the end of June, there was another resistance attack that was successfully executed, in which members of the H group also got their man when they dropped, I suppose, which must have been some kind of grenade into a Makava tank down in the southern part of the country in Khan Yunis in southern Gaza, dropped a grenade right in the Makava tank, and then 7 IDFs went on to the gangster lean. they went on to the gangster lean. So I understand that the genocide continues in horrific ways, that Palestinians continue to lose their lives as they starve to death. It is the greatest human tragedy that we will probably ever witness in our lifetime. But the folks are still fighting back in the ways that they can. Okay. And that part of the story is not going to be told in Western media, and you need to know that it's happening. So definitely go check out Indi.ca. I hope that's the right name. I'm pretty sure that it is. And lastly, it's the deadline piece, Will. When we talk about the propaganda, like, we're not making that up. We're not making up that propaganda is being propagandized. Thank you so much, Librarian, for your Cash App support. We appreciate it. So there was a letter signed by over 100 staffers of the BBC saying that the BBC has been on some bullshit, that the BBC, the editors and the higher ups were directing their reporters and their writers to present stories about the Israeli-Hamas war in ways that were unquestionably biased towards the Israeli state, and that would raise issues of anti-Semitism and a variety of different things. And as a state-sanctioned media outlet, and with the UK government unabashedly a prop of the Zionist state, a puppet of the Zionist state itself, this should be surprising to no one. But I was surprised at the lack of coverage that this, what I perceive to be newsworthy event, where media workers say that they were told by their managers, by their editors, by their bosses, that they need to present the information in favor of Israel and in a bias against Palestinians, right? And again, this happens in ways big and small, in the ways in which the Israelis who were captured on October 7th are referred to as hostages. Meanwhile, the thousands of Palestinians that have been languishing in Israeli dungeons for sometimes decades, but a long time, are referred to as prisoners. And this is a consistent thing that the media does, right? Or when they report on Palestinian deaths, they'll say X number of Palestinians die after bomb explodes in hospital. Well, the bomb came from an Israeli drone. Like, we can call a thing. We can say what the Israeli military forces are doing, but these are the insidious ways in which media plays games with language and with, possession and active and passive voice and all of this shit to make it seem as though the Israelis are the victims as opposed to the perpetrators of a very active and horrific genocide. And so, guys, I just wanted to bring you these little stories here. Trump getting nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, that's dystopian. A so-called press in a so-called democracy, liberal democracy, no less, the UK is supposed to be. They're being directed to report the news in a skewed way. That's also pretty dystopian. And the stories about the resistance actually getting some W's, not getting reported, also dystopian. So we have to remember that the reality that we are being presented is not the one that is being lived out here. And unfortunately, if you're not tapped in to, at minimum, a somewhat diverse range of media sources and places where you get and receive information, and again, even if you can't vet the information in the so-called acceptable or traditional or typical way, you're a human. Like, we do have powers of discernment. We can pick up cues of credibility. And again, that is why oftentimes, if it's a source that I'm not able to verify, I try to, number one, say that, and number two, um I can't necessarily articulate it all the ways in which credibility jumps out at me, but it does. And I encourage everybody to do and assess that for yourself. But I don't bring y'all folks that I don't find credible. Let's put it this way. Let me put it that way. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you are not crazy once again. Well, you might be crazy, and quite honestly, you might be being driven crazy by the state of things. But are you crazy for understanding that there is an active genocide happening? No, you're not. You're not crazy for recognizing that. Are you crazy because you want something done about it? Nope, absolutely not crazy for that. And I do want to send solidarity to the people of Palestine Action, who have now been prescribed. Woo, the British use interesting words in that way. They've been prescribed as a terrorist organization, even though they've never hurt nobody, ain't never killed nobody. And by the way, apparently the same day that the British Parliament prescribed Palestine Action as a terrorist organization was a day shared in history by the British suffragettes. Was it the day that women got the right to vote in the UK? There was some historical synchronicity happening on that same day that Palestine Action got prescribed to be a terrorist group. Something else happened pertaining to British suffragettes on that day in history, and they were running down. I don't know what I was watching, but they were running down the actions of the British suffragettes back in the day, 100 some years ago. When I tell you these bitches were planting bombs, the British suffragettes were planting bombs. They was fucking tearing shit up. They was bashing in the fronts of storefronts and doing vandalism and doing all kinds of shit. And I said, look at Palestine Action, tame by comparison to the British suffragettes' actions of 100 years ago. And here is Palestine Action being labeled as terrorists. Like, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. There's nothing terroristic about putting red paint to symbolize the blood of innocent Palestinians on a multi-million-dollar airplane. Did anybody get hurt? Fucking no. Terrorists where? Terrorists how? Resist that shit, UK. Resist, resist, resist. That is done in an effort to chill your speech. I know it's big Fed time associated with standing with Palestine Action. Big Fed time over there. I think it's 14 years, something crazy. So I get it, but y'all, it's a ridiculous smear, right? And shame on the British Parliament for going along with some shit like that. It doesn't even come close to meeting the standard of what actual terrorism is. And they ought to be shamed. Shame for that. So anyway, gang, I don't have a palate cleanser tonight. My deepest apologies. But guess what? I will take your money anyway. And I think we did have, I saw at least one box roll up there, Will. So let me know if we got anybody that we need to acknowledge. But if you
I
do,
got you.
thank you
We
so much.
got first. We got Philly representative, the very valid Infinite Content, as the Philly correspondent, dubbed himself. But also we agree. So I'm gonna chill. There is no more in the wings in Philly. SEPTA is cutting the service and raising fares, and the teachers union is set to go on strike September 1st. I lived through a strike before, and it's gonna get bad. Yeah, and he also made a point about cutting that inflated police budget as well. And I saw Infinite, speak on that. So shout out to them and shout out to the chat. Everybody's showing love. Please like and subscribe. We got 100 people in the chat, and yeah, that's our super chat for the night.
Thanks, gang. I appreciate it so much. Thank you so much, Infinite Content. Infinite. Oh man, I can only imagine. I can't imagine the smell of the city. Hot in the city. Hot in the city tonight. Y'all know nothing about that Billy Idol. Get out my face. Y'all do not know about that Billy Idol. But anyway, not Billie Eilish, children. Billy Idol. Anyway. Thank you, Infinite. I appreciate that. And we send love going out to our folks in Philly, all of our union folks, all of our laborers, all of our working class people, everybody that is marginalized and oppressed and experiencing some difficulty right now. I get it. But anyway, if you want to run us some bucks, you can totally do that. $ BIDWKB. That's us on Cash App, Venmo at BIDWKB, PayPal.me/BIDWKB. And thank you so much to our patrons. You guys are awesome sauce. Patreon.com/BIDWKB. I appreciate it. So I will holla at y'all. On the flip side, please join us for the Remix Morning Show. Shout out to everyone that watched this morning. Y'all, sometimes, well, shout out to Renee. Shout out to Amber. Thank you so much for waking up to join us. But when it's just me and the I feel like I'm at his whims. You know what I'm saying? Because when he asks the question, any random question, I'm like, I feel the need to answer it literally, and maybe I shouldn't feel that need. I gotta do a better job of fending off the ear doctor when he wants to take me down wayward paths when it's just he and I. So I appreciate Renee and Amber coming on to hang out. But join us on Thursday for the Remix Morning Show. Join the Remix Morning Show tomorrow, of course, 8 a.m. Eastern. Go subscribe to Black Liberation Media. And of course, Ear Doctor, where he and I, our talents really shine, on Classical Breakdown. 11 a.m. on Thursday, we are doing the 1980s. I want to do one-hit wonders of the 80s. That's the lane I want to drive in for this installation of Classical Breakdown as we present an entire decade. So of course we're going to hit the greats, but I want to hit some of them one-hit wonders. So if you have any particularly favorite one-hit wonders, because we know also music was deeply regionalized in the 1980s. So there may have been a song that was a hit where you was that nobody else ever heard of. I'm thinking of One Man, $100 and a One-Track Mind by Stinky Dink from DC. Y'all probably don't know about One Man, $100 and a One-Track Mind, but that's okay though. See, that's why we all here to build together. So if you have some one-hit wonders from the 80s, drop them in the comments. I would be interested in knowing what they are. So I appreciate you guys being here. Like the video on your way out, subscribe to the channel, and we will see y'all back here. Love you guys. Thank you so much to Will and Molly so much. And thank you all for being here, Fire Fam. Thanks to the mods also. Deuces, y'all. See y'all later. Bye-bye, y'all.